Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, October 23rd, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube. We're going to go over methane and sea ice and some climate-related items, just tracking the demise of the planet climate-wise. So we're going to start out with Climate Reanalyzer, and I've been trying to record this show for the last hour and just having some technical difficulties, so I'm getting kind of tired, but I'm going to do my best here. So here's what we've got for maximum temperatures today, and we can see we've got some cooler air finally in on this west side of North America. And Australia, you've got whites. The whites are about 40 C or higher, or 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Two-meter temperature anomaly, and Greenland has got reds and browns, and so we've got blues coming over the central part of the Arctic, and then reds and browns right next to it. And here's this cold air swooping down from Canada, and it's almost winter time here now. We've had 80-degree weather like every day so far this month, practically, here in the Reno area. And then we got this cold front, and we had a hard freeze last night, and you know, it's pretty much winter time, I guess. And then this warm air got pushed east. Here's a flat view. Europe, you're all in the brown. Lots of browns across Russia. Worldwide, we're up 0.6 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 1.3 C. The Arctic is up 2.7 C. The Antarctic is down 0.5 C. Southern hemisphere is down 0.2 C. And the tropics are up 0.1 C. Here's precipitation and clouds. The green is rain, the blue is snow, and see, we still have rain coming up next to Greenland here. And here's a flat view. Here are the jet loops. What used to be the jet stream, but it broke. You can see all these loops. Just total chaos. Here's sea surface temperature anomaly. We still have a lot of browns in the Arctic. because it takes a while for that water to start cooling down. Here's our blob in the North Atlantic. And we have two blobs in the Pacific, one off the coast of Canada and one kind of in the middle north part of the Atlantic. I mean Pacific. Sorry, I'm very tired. Worldwide, we're up 0.4 C higher than normal. The Northern Hemisphere and North Pacific are both up 0.7 C. The North Atlantic is up 1 C. Southern Hemisphere is up 0.2 C. And the Equatorial Pacific is down 0.3 C. And now we'll move to methane. And first, I have to show CAMS has no methane data. The last day of methane data they had was for Tuesday. So I'm going to splice in my report from Wednesday where I showed the methane data for Tuesday. I'll do that after we look at the NOAA data. They do this periodically, and it's carbon dioxide and methane. Those two, for whatever reason, they get held up on reporting. Everything else is current though. So, just a heads up. So, I have 2 days worth of NOAA data to show. This is from Friday the 21st in the morning. Met-Op-B or Met-Op-1 satellite. We're tracking this 469 millibar level. The mean or average was 1948 parts per billion. The high reading was 2479. In the afternoon, look at all this missing data. Almost all of North America, all of Mexico, Central America, and that's a lot of missing data, but even with that, it's 1948 for the mean, and the afternoon spiked up to 2558. And then for Saturday, the 22nd in the morning, the mean was 1949 and the high reading was 2492. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1949 and the mean was 2595. Here's our spreadsheet and chart. And the 22nd averages out to be 1949 parts per billion, and that's a slight decrease for the week, down 0.5, and so here's just a little nudge down. We're 17.5 parts per billion higher than a year ago, and 79.5 higher than March the 1st of 2019 when I started tracking this. We are at the beginning. So I don't know if we've peaked out yet. We'll know within a week or so. So let's see what happened this week. Here we were in our show last Sunday. For the 15th, we were at 1949.5. So that was Saturday. Sunday, no change. Monday, no change. Tuesday went up 1 part per billion to 1950.5, and that's gonna be the last day of cams that they posted, and I'm gonna splice that day in a minute here. And then Wednesday, sharp decrease of 3.5. Thursday, no change. Friday, up 1. Saturday, up 1. And brings us to 0.5 lower than where we started for this week. And now I'm going to stop this recording and splice in the cams data for Tuesday. Look at cams. We're going to look at Tuesday, and they don't have Wednesday up. See, they've got Friday through Tuesday. Arctic view and surface level. Here's our color ledger. So the data is for Tuesday, and the forecast period is Wednesday through Saturday. We've got some higher readings kind of drifting across the Arctic. See this kind of yellowish green? That's a higher background color. That's this 2000. See, that's 2000. All of that 2000 parts per billion. Look at Komsomol. It's coming up all around. Look, when it starts over, it's going to be coming up. Look, see, next to the northernmost island, or easternmost, I guess, depending on your perspective. So that's looking worse. Russia, on some days is just really heavy on the interior. See, especially here south of Norilsk. Alaska seems to be going down a little bit. It's still got some high readings in the interior, and also at Koktovik. Now, this eastern part of Canada is it's got high readings. See the wave moving out. When you see that, she's coming all the way across. And look at North Dakota. When you see those waves like that, that's just extraordinarily high methane that's coming up. Now we'll go to the North Pole view. Look at this Europe. That's this is the second week that it's like this, and see streaming out the dark over the North Sea. Persian Gulf is filled up. India, China. Look at this streaming out. This is Bengal Bay. Is that the Bengal Bay? I haven't, yeah, I think that's the Bengal. This is the Arabian Sea. I haven't looked at these bays in a long time. Have to refresh my memory. So it's really bad with China in the southern area there on Tuesday. Look at the U.S. Let's look at that. Look at this wave moving out. And then Thursday and Friday is just filled up with methane from Texas east. California is filling up a lot. Now we'll go to the global view. See, we're getting more of this darker blue creeping in this southern hemisphere. That's 1840 instead of 1860. Here's the hot spot in Beijing. Okay, now we'll look at 500 HPA. Look at this. Solid across the Arctic. Here it's heavy and over the Atlantic. Here it's heavy over, looks like the Great Lakes and north from the U.S. Alaska. Here it's heavy. Now this is what's coming off of China that we saw. And then almost all of Russia and so on. And then total column. Let's see. It's heaviest here over southern China and Asia and over the Bengal Bay. And all these reds. Okay, now we'll move on with our CAMS data. Here's sulfur dioxide for today, globally. And the most interesting thing here today is this higher reading. This is in southern Russia, just across the border from China. And see how that jumped up at 500 HPA. Usually you'll see that with a volcano or an earthquake. Now here's Popocatépetl, just to compare, and this is Colombia. There's a Reventador volcano there. So this is a pretty good sized release. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen any earthquakes there. We'll see if a big earthquake happens near there. If it's an earthquake, it's usually The earthquake usually happens within a day or two after the sulfur dioxide release. Here's the Pacific view, so it's right up here. So it looks like it originates in China, northern China, and there's Russia right there. See, and then here's at 500 HPA. Okay, moving on. Here is the ozone hole over the Antarctic today. It's still huge, and everything inside this black line is in the danger zone, and that's below 220 Dobson units. And we've got a black part too, and that's 100 to 125 Dobson units. So it's still huge, covering up most of the continent. Here's the Arctic ozone, and we've got a hole right next to the North Pole, also coming up the North Atlantic over Iceland, Greenland, and we've got an aqua hole here in the Atlantic, in the vicinity of the blob, and then we've got green coming across the US there. Here's the flat view, or global view. See all these greens. That's below average or healthy, or a good layer. Alright, that's all of those. Now we'll move on to sea ice. One thing I was going to say, CAMS does that periodically, where somehow they get behind on posting. It's methane and carbon dioxide, but then when they start posting, they'll put it up for a couple of hours, and so you have to be watching and record it right then. And then they'll put up another day's worth and take away the other one. So what I'll be doing is tracking that CAMS website periodically, and as soon as new data is put up, I'll be recording it and just doing silent videos with that, and put those over on my Subscribestar channel. Alright, so now we'll go through this slideshow. This is sea ice and snow cover from Climate Reanalyzer. I download these images every day. Here we are today. We're tracking our Arctic refreeze, and we can see it's inching down in the Baffin Bay, a little bit in these tributaries, and inching out here in the Beaufort Sea and Chukchi Sea, East Siberian Sea, coming in along the coastline here in the Laptev Sea, also inching out from that north edge, a little bit on the east side around Severnaya Zemlya and Franz Josef Land, but nothing further east, simply because we saw that the water is still quite warm. so here we were last Sunday, and we'll go through the pictures and you can see what's happened. So Sunday and Monday, I had to get a different view that day. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and here we are Sunday. So you can see it's just inching out a little bit there. Now we'll go to the Navy models. U.S. Navy, this is Arctic sea ice thickness for today. We'll zoom in and see all these splotchy areas with the light lavender and white. That's the refreeze, and it's thin, but it's coming back, filling in, and this corresponds to what we saw on Climate Reanalyzer. And here's what's left of the thicker sea ice, and it's been stretching and just stretching out. It's thickening just a tiny bit. You can't really tell that much, but we're starting to get a little hint of red, which is about 4 meters thick, just off this North Greenland coast. Also a little touch of red here off of this island, and some greens coming in. But aqua, dark aqua to kind of brighter aqua. And a little bit of thickening going on. Not much though, but it's early in the refreeze. And this, like this dark aqua, it's like 1.5 meters thick. The blue is about 1.25, and then the purple blue, where it moves into blue, is about 1 meter thick. The brighter aqua is about 2 to 2.5 meters thick. The green is about 3 meters thick. And then the purple just goes down to wispy and nothing. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to yesterday. So the data goes back 3 weeks, and the forecast goes out to next Saturday. So let's zoom in and see what this model is showing. Now we can see this ice sliding down, and this happens. This is part of its migration, and it'll slide down and then turn around in the Beaufort Gyre. But we are seeing it start to anchor in here. around these islands. So let's stop this at the end. Okay, here we are next Saturday. And this looks thinner to me. It looks like it's just stretching in either way and thinning out here above Ellesmere. I don't know. Let's click back. Here we are today. So watch this. You're going to see it sliding down. There it goes. Yeah, that's getting thinner. It looks like to me, because it's getting darker aqua. Well, that's kind of worrisome. We'll just see. Okay, here's the Beaufort view, sea ice thickness. Here's Canada on the right, Alaska at the bottom. Here's that little red finger of about 4-meter thick ice, and a little bit of red along this coastline. And here's a little touch of red here, and then the greens a little thicker. And here we've got wispy ice reaching out to Alaska there. Here's the 30-day animation, and this was updated to today. So the forecast goes out to next Sunday. And I'll stop it. There we go. Here we are at the end of the model, and see the greens, that's thicker, but it's sliding, definitely moving down. And we have a little bit wispier ice coming in there on the Beaufort Sea. Here's the Antarctic, and just opposite of what's going on in the Arctic. Now the Antarctic is in its melting cycle now that the sun is up, and we're seeing this west edge deteriorating a lot, and also the southeast edge. And here in the Weddell Sea, that's where we have the majority of the thicker ice. And 30-day animation, and this one was updated to yesterday. So the forecast goes out to next Saturday. So there's that. Okay, moving on. This is National Snow and Ice Data Center. Arctic sea ice concentration. This is for yesterday. And this corresponds to the other models we just saw. And we're seeing more white come in. That means it's refreezing on the leads, so it's more of a solid area rather than having open water. And the brown line is the mean, and so we're well below that. And here's the chart. This blue line is this year. This dotted line is 2012. And we can see in the last day or so, it's kind of inching down. It's not as high of an angle, so it's more of a lower angle, indicating the refreeze slowing down a little bit. So it looks like we're going to meet up with 2012 in the next day or so. Here's the Antarctic, and here's their chart. So we're watching the melt, and here's the blue line for this year, and it's steadily going down. This greenish line is last year. So we peaked out right back here around mid-September. Definitely below last year in the median. And Greenland, see if we see any dots here. We've got one dot, one salmon dot on this west side right there. And we did get some rain along this west side earlier this week, so had a little bit of a melt for one day there. Here are the cumulative melt days for this year, and where you see it's white, that's the only area where it didn't melt at least one day this whole year. And we can see the highest melting was on this southwest edge. Also pretty good melting on the northeast and around there. Here's the chart. Here is a little bump where it rained. It melted a couple of days ago, and it's back flattened out. And so this chart ends in October. Supposedly it won't be melting during the winter, so we'll see what happens. So there's that. Now, I am happy to report that NASA Worldview satellite imagery is back online as of today, and so we can get a full report here. So this black circle is where it's already in the dark from the sun going down. And the sun's at a very low angle now as it's setting. we can see that a lot of Greenland is in the dark. All of Ellesmere Island, a lot of this Canadian archipelago, about half of the Beaufort Sea, the Chukchi Sea is just inching out, and Svalbard is in the dark. I thought it was still in the sunlight, but apparently it's in the dark. Franz Josef Land is in the dark. This north tip of Novaya Zemlya has just gone dark. Severnaya Zemlya and the Taimyr Peninsula is starting to go dark. So we'll turn on our sea ice concentration layer, and we'll turn on the blue marble layer. Uh-oh. They moved my layers around. There it is. Here we go. And so, were you seeing the solid white? That's where it's solid ice. And these colors, that's where it's refreezing. So this corresponds to the other models that we saw. Here's our refreeze here in the North Baffin Bay, and here around Franz Josef Land, Severnaya Zemlya, and here along the Russian coastline and so forth. So let's go through this. Here we were last week on the 16th, so we'll just see what it's done. So here's Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and here we are today. And turn that one off. And we'll just see what we can see satellite wise. So here's the ice here in the Beaufort Sea. See, there's those are open leads, so that's got to refreeze. And here's the wispy ice refreezing. Here's the edge, see? There's the Bering Strait. Here's Wrangell Island. So, I'm looking for that ice arm coming across. Okay, it's under a cloud. Here it is. See, there's the ice. Here it is. There's the edge, the refreeze. Here's the Laptev Sea, and here's the ice. See how it's refreezing. There's New Siberian Islands, that's in the dark. And here's Novaya Zemlya. Those are clouds. Here's the Yamal Peninsula. Now supposedly this Gulf of Ob is frozen. Well, I don't think it's real solid yet. And here's Greenland. And I don't really know if there's much to see on this nighttime layer. We'll see. Here's Greenland. Here's the Lincoln Sea. Look at all that open water. Here's the nearest strait. Okay, this is Greenland here. Here's the ice edge. You can see it there. I think that's about all we can see. Yeah. So we'll turn that off. Now let's head on down to the Antarctic. See, it's all in the sunlight now. We're going to start down here. Here's our iceberg, A76. He's still there. And there are pieces breaking off, see? But he's still pretty much intact. It's huge. But it's farther away from these islands, so that's a good thing. Okay, here's the Weddell Sea. Here's the Western Peninsula. See, here's some open water. Here. So right along this Western Peninsula is the majority of the thicker ice. Here's the ice. See? You can see it breaking up. Okay, let's come on around. So here's this west side that's melting out so fast. See? Alright, here's Pine Island Glacier. Here's Thwaites Glacier. And there's a big cloud over that we can see through. So Thwaites, and see this big crack? That's the tongue where it's already broken off. And there are cracks all the way through it. But look at this. There's a big crack there. Big opening. And this is the same as the Doomsday Glacier. So we're watching this. Here's the Pine Island Glacier. There's open water under that cloud there. Here's the ice. This is sea ice. And these dark spots, that's open water. And it's gonna crack and go across. This is where it calved off the last time. Coming on around. There's the coast. See? Where are we? Okay, here's the Ross Sea. This is the Ross Ice Shelf. Right down here. This is Ross Island. And there's Mount Erebus, the volcano. And there's the shadow from the volcano. Here's the ice. Coming on around. This southwest edge, see, that's all melted already, or a lot of it has. Here's the Totem Glacier, here's the tongue, and here's the open water. And we're watching this because it had a big crack along this tongue. I was thinking it was going to break off last year, but it didn't. Then coming on around on this east side. Not much ice on this east side. Here's the Amory Ice Shelf. And there are lots of glaciers that feed into this. Here's a cloud, and this is the edge of the ice shelf here, and there's the ocean, or the water. Here we go. And coming around, here's the north end. Here's the Brunt ice shelf. And there's quite a bit of open water around here. See? And we're back to where we started from. So there's that. Now we'll look at earthquakes for the week. We've got 176 in the last 24 hours, so that number is going down. Here's some 5s, 5.3, Bato, Philippines, and there's some 4s. There was a, this is China, 5.0, and these are 4s. Here's a new one on Kamchatka, 4.3, Tilichiki, Russia. There's Japan. Okay, here's one, larger one in Northern California, 4.1 for tuna. This is at this fulcrum point where this Juan de Fuca plate comes down and connects with the San Andreas fault line. Here's one, 1.6, that's in the Cascadia zone. Now let's look at 7 days all magnitudes. What's happened this week? Look at this. Well, first of all, we had this big one off the coast of Panama, 6.7 near Boca Chica, Panama. This was on the 20th, and quite a few aftershocks around there, 4s. It was in the water, and just more. Look at all this movement. We had 4.4 in the Norwegian Sea. This was at 72 degrees north latitude. So this is considered part of the Arctic region. Here's a 4.6, Reykjanes Ridge. and so on. Lots of 5s, lots of 4s. See, all around, all of these plate lines everywhere. Very, very active. We had 1,962 this week total. Hawaii had 171. Look at that. Pahala, Mauna Loa, Kilauea, and the geysers were crazy this week. Normally we'll see about 20 or 30 in a day here. Couple of days it was like 100. This is in California. 361 here this week. And I think the largest was like a 3.5 or something like that here. So that was swarming. We had one at the north end of the Juan de Fuca plate, 3.8. And just more and more of the same. But we're still here. So that's my report for tonight. And we'll bring it back to a spiritual focus. I do believe we're in the end times. And we need to prepare spiritually for the end. We're reading Job, continuing. Job chapter 5. Call now, if there be any that will answer thee, and to which of the saints wilt thou turn? For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. I have seen the foolish taking root, but suddenly I cursed his habitation. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them, whose harvest the hungry eateth up, and taketh it even out of the thorns, and the robber swalloweth up their substance. Although affliction cometh not forth of the dust, neither doth trouble spring out of the ground, yet man is born unto trouble, as the sparks fly upward. I would seek unto God, and unto God would I commit my cause, which doeth great things and unsearchable, marvelous things without number, who giveth rain upon the earth, and sendeth waters upon the fields, to set up on high those that be low, that those which mourn may be exalted to safety. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. But he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. So the poor hath hope, and iniquity stoppeth her mouth. Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. For he maketh sore, and bindeth up. He woundeth, and his hands made whole. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And thou shalt know that thy tabernacle shall be in peace, and thou shalt visit thy habitation, and shalt not sin. Thou shalt know also that thy seed shall be great, and thine offspring as the grass of the earth. Thou shalt come to thy grave in a full age, like as a shock of corn coming in his season. Lo, this, we have searched it, so it is. Bear it, and know thou it for thy good. Job chapter 5. So I'm praying for everyone. Hope you have a good week, as good as possible. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it before it's too late. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way to my Father's kingdom is through me. He came to save us and to give us everlasting life, not here on this world, but in heaven. So, I love you all, and I'm praying for you. And until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.